the woman who hasn't is just starting her period. So she's gained a couple of pounds, which she said was fine. She wasn't, we expect that. So we put measures in place, but everybody else is absolutely loving life. Just got off a phone call with one of them we've basically already broached the subject of carrying on training afterwards, which he's like, yeah, I'm going to need it because, I'm scared of losing all the support. I'm like, well, you don't have to. There are options available.
You don't ever have to leave me.
Yeah, you could stay forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so some really good stuff. Like, absolutely loving it. So
Beautiful, cool. All right, so what we'll do is we'll do our call because it's traffic was a bitch getting in here. So we'll do the normal call, get all that stuff done, and if we have time, we can do the testimonial then. If we're not, we can do it later on. Cool, sweet. So the goal is to get our webinar done, and I think as soon as we start doing that, you'll start seeing the power of what you can do and what you have been doing, and then the power of doing it through webinars and marketing through there as well. Okay, cool. So what has been some we focus on the positive. So the clients are doing really, really well. You've already got some clients saying that they're going to transform into actual online clients. And so then there as well. How many do you think at this point in time, looking at your model now, how many do you think will convert over apart from the ones you just told me about?
I would say probably definitely half. It depends because the one in North Carolina may do. The thing is, we just try and have to figure out time difference of calls. That's the only issue with that. The Polish lady I've got, and I think it, without sounding stereotypical, they're very much, okay, everything's fine. Or, I'm not getting much back from them. I think they're quite happy to do the challenge. They'll do what they've got to do and go. But that's one of those things. And I kind of knew that because obviously we work with a lot of them in the gym anyway, so that wasn't a thing. And one of them, maybe four. I think maybe four. I don't see why they wouldn't carry on, but then they're one of those ones where there's no reason why they wouldn't, but there's also a chance that they just might not. But I know that at least three of them, because they've been really grateful for the support and everything else that they're getting, are probably pretty much burning hot to carry on. So that would be pretty epic, actually, having the four of them on board, because as we say, that covers your cost of coaching, which is already half from this other client, which is great. And she's absolutely loving it at the moment because we had a big conversation on Monday, and to steal a few of your phrases, was helping her get her mind ready with her business. Because I basically said to her, my job as your coach at the moment is to, there's no point in me giving you all these weight loss tips and stuff like that if you're too stressed to implement them. So I need to fix your stress first. That's my job right now. And your stress is coming from your job and the fact that your clients are dictating what you do, and you've just kind of fell into this trap. So I said, let's put some things in place. She's a childminder. So I'm like, right, when do you want to work? How much do you want to charge? You set these boundaries out, and people are going to come to you because you're good at what you do. Like, you've already got clients. I said, how many people are you going to lose, really? And then afterwards she went, I feel so fired up right now. I'm so happy we had this call. And now she's messaging me more because of it. She's getting her steps in, and it's slowly having that trickle-on effect. So she's absolutely loving life at the moment. So I'm confident that it's all, like, the methods that I'm using, all that are working now. So that's kind of relieved that off a bit.
And the most important, if you can hear any chewing in the background, it's my dog chewing the water bowl. And I can't do that. Honestly, it's a nut. It's like 7 a.m, so she's just woken up. So the best thing about what we do, and the reason why the challenge works so well as an intro to getting clients to convert, is that first of all, we can scale that quite easily and do it hands-free eventually. But most importantly, it gives those people, just like you just talked about, an opportunity to really see the worth without the stress of paying, if that makes sense. So one of the biggest barriers, especially when it goes coach to PT, PT to client, especially online, is there's so many people around the market that is always kind of giving people all of this value. On the internet, if you go on Facebook, you cannot just scroll without seeing a PT ad or a weight loss ad or a supplement or whatever. So we're always fighting against that. And one of the easiest ways to do that is convert and get your people in the door without the financial strain of paying. Although it's not a lot per week for how much value you bring to the table, which is another question that we're going to query once we get past a certain amount, because I truly believe, I think you're worth way more than you're charging right now. But we can do that once we scale and once you've got everything covered and everything's paid for. But again, I think that's why the webinars are so valuable, right? Like you'll look at the webinar slides that I sent you, give or take a few technical issues. The way that I strategize the whole entire webinar is literally like I take them on a journey and really make them come to the conclusion that I'm telling them what they need to hear, rather than that we're forcing it down their throat, which is an extremely easy thing for you to do. So, you take them and we say, okay, what are we going to cover and all these things. And it's the easiest thing in the world to be able to do once you have the structure right. So like you said about, teaching a lift, a client's never going to get the lift if they skip certain steps, right?
Right.
The same thing about following the script and all that kind of stuff, and following the process of doing the challenge. So when you're creating the webinar, okay, really like unpackage the product that you have as the webinar, the topic of the webinar, which is, have we decided exactly what we're still on the road of the topic that we're talking about on the webinar?
So the name, I kind of want to not use the Wonder Woman thing again, because I want to keep that for the challenge. I think that works really well as a challenge, but I need to push more the VS Complete Fitness side of things for this other stuff, because that's actually what I am. But the topic is, and I've got the 3 points as well. So the topic would be why you've been not failing, because I'm using behavioral therapy words here. I'm like, the reasons why you've been unsuccessful with your diet time and time again.
Yep.
Because people can relate to that. Failing is a horrible word. Oh, I didn't fail a diet. The diet failed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, you weren't successful. Okay, so there was obviously 2 things. So the 3 points I'm making up is the black and white pendulum, all or nothing. The trying to be a perfectionist with everything and getting annoyed when everything isn't perfect every time. And the little golden nugget that nobody thinks about is you don't know why you're snacking, but there is a reason for it. So I'm going into that is with you snack for 2 reasons. It's either to fix a craving or to give yourself energy. And if you're craving something and eating for energy, you're going to keep eating because you haven't fixed the craving. And if you're trying to fix a craving, or you're lacking energy and you're eating for a craving, you're going to keep eating because you haven't solved your energy problem. And people, when I've said this in the calls, they're like, oh my God, bang, light bulb goes off. That's exactly what I was doing. I'm eating chocolate, and it's keyword using I'm really craving carbs. Well, let's take carbs out of the equation. You're saying you've got a lack of energy. It's not like something specific. Like the other day, my client was like, I really needed salt, so I got some salt vinegar crisp. But then once I was done with that, I was done. I said, yeah, but you snacked for what you needed. You didn't just go and eat a flapjack, which gives you no salt, and then think, crap, I've still got to eat that packet of crisps. So you knew what you needed, you fixed the problem, you moved on. So not many people are picking up on that. So that's kind of that's going to be my, the big reveal kind of thing in it, that, you are supposed to snack, but you just got to know why.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I think all of that shit's unbelievable. And if you really talk about those topics in a free webinar that you're going to do, they're just going to lap all that stuff up, right? The biggest thing though is you have this amazing product. My job is to make sure people get into that product. And the easiest way to do this is make sure that we do not overcomplicate the process, but we also make sure that there's it's kind of like this build up, right? People are like, what is this webinar about? We don't tell them what it's about, but we give them little sneak peeks, right? The title of it needs to be something like not clickbait, like you see on YouTube or whatever like that, but almost simultaneously like that. So what you need to do is don't give them the explanation of what the webinar is in the title. Give a title that's sexy, appealing, kind of like putting on the edge of controversial, if that makes sense. So it's very much like I'm going to get people to click on it, because literally all a headline is a hook, right? We either go hook, story, offer. Hook, story, offer. Whenever we do something, it's those 3 principles, regardless. You watch any of my content, see any of my landing pages, my new ones that I've just built, they're all hook, story, offer, and they all categorize into fearful, logical, and emotional, right? Those are the 3 buys that you're always going to meet, regardless of how big or how small our businesses are. It's always fearful, logical, emotional. So it's really going through those three categories, and they can switch and change over. It doesn't really matter about the leverage of them, but those are the three people that we need to do. So the title needs to be a hook. Like, how do we get those people hooked? Just like a drug addict gets their clients to come back and buy. Sorry, a drug dealer comes back and get those people to buy, right?
Yeah.
We want them to be hooked on your content by the way in which they can't find out until they click on the link and they go to your website, or they go to your landing page, or they go to your sign up page for Zoom, or they go to your Facebook event, or they go to your page, or they go to your YouTube channel. So what do you think the title of the video, of the webinar, could be called? We're bringing in those factors.
I suppose if you're going to go for the hook, it would be the reason why your diet failed, because that's what people are going to think of. It's like, well, you know, I suppose you can be more understanding once you start talking about it. But if you're going to catch people's attention, like the secrets to why the diets fail.
Okay, but does that give too much away in the title, do you think? Like, if I saw that title on your page, I'm like, okay, well, he's going to tell me why my diets don't fail. I've had previous people in the past try to do this. I've resented it. I already know what's going to happen. I can go and Google that, right? Like, I'm not saying this is because your theory is going to be Google. Like, it can be conquered by Google. It can't. It definitely can't. But just like, I've spent years and years and years going through this and doing different webinars and stuff like that. And the biggest ones are the ones that are the most, not the most trendy at the time, but you've also got to look at like things like keyword search. And this is where it becomes a little bit different and probably out of your scope of reality, because it is for a lot of people.
That's what I was kind of getting at. I was like, I wouldn't even know.
So
in the nicest way, I don't do a lot of webinars. I've done a couple.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'm just like, as you say, you think, well, what are you telling me?
Yeah.
Or I already know what you're telling me, so I've always steered clear of them. And or you know, as it goes, they've just been crap, and I'm bored of it. Like the first slide, I'm like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah, for sure, and that's what I'm saying. So you do little things like I get someone, I actually pay someone per month to find out the biggest SEO searches in my industry for business coaching, marketing, all that kind of stuff. She finds thousands of different things, and that's reactively how I build my funnels, my content, my posts, all of that. Because there's no point trying to reinvent a wheel, because you're just going to get drowned out by the people that are spending millions of dollars on ads, right? Because you're organically, right? So it's again something I'm trying to find. A keyword search is going to give me an example. Jesus Christ, my dog is. Can you hear that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm so desensitized to it. I have 2 kids, and I'm used to just things going bang in the background. So, you know what? It's fine.
All right. So what we need to do is here. You can go to keyword searches, right? And this is something that you can explore with anything you're trying to do. So if we said like weight loss as a topic, right? If we went keywords, it's going to make me make an account. All right. I'm going to try and find one that doesn't make me an account right now. So I'm going to make me make an account. So the best thing we can do, although it seems like a little bit of an admin, it's easy, because you actually get a lot more ideas from what's already being searched for, because you'll be surprised about what people search for. So what you can do is, let's say, let's go here. For example, you go into something like a keyword search. Now, I would recommend in the future trying to get something more sustainable than this, but it's pretty easy. So for instance, you can see here that weight loss in general has been searched 43,000 times in the last, I think it's about 7 days. So you can go down here and say anything from like even like this shit's being like Rick Ross weight loss, right? Like, I know this is stupid, but you know, dead weight loss, best weight loss pills. Obviously, I know you're not going to make something like that. Weight loss plateau. So something like, you know, you see what I'm saying? So like, this is getting searched all the time. So you're going to get 3,500 people searching for this per day if you use this in the title.
Right.
So it's kind of like, okay, well, what are the key kind of words? And we can go to Amazon, YouTube, or whatever we want to do, right? So then let's break your webinar down into the 3 fundamental words that we want to use. So if we went into here and we went to, let's go, because we're, so let's say UK, sorry. Oh, crap, not Brazil. Cool. So then what you'll do is you'll go, okay, cool. what are the 3 fundamental things that are about our webinar, right? Like weight loss, behavior change, whatever we want to do. So if we said behavior, right? If I spell it right, if we go, okay, cool. Do we want behavior in here? Cool. Like, okay, antisocial behavior, behavioral, whatever, consumer behavior, theory of planned behavior. You know, all of these things are getting searched really like kind of low things. So realistically, behavior is probably not a great word to use because it's not being searched a lot. So all of these things, although they seem a lot of meaningless and we don't really probably have to do it straight away in this first webinar, I want you to get into the routine of just like when you're checking data and stats and all this kind of stuff. This is something you can search every day. Like go on here. It's a free resource. Like this one's free anyway. You can get paid, but I wouldn't worry about that too long.
Yeah.
But you can go, okay, well, what are the 3 things that I want to include in my kind of webinar title? So like if we put weight loss, right, which is kind of probably too open-ended to put into your thing, we can go, okay, well, weight loss, John Hill, Tom, what do we want to do? Like these would be things like, if you wanted to make a video that got a lot of hits on it, you would say what I think about Tyson Fury's weight loss, right? Like you'll start seeing it in the media now already that people will start doing this. Like James Smith does it, Duran does it, all of these people do it, right? Because this is what they're doing. So what you would do is go, okay, well, what do you think the 3 areas of your webinar are about? What do you think?
Diet, I guess. Diet, habits, and Jesus. So it's diets, habits, and consistency. It's kind of hard because I always look at things from an educational point of view, not a sales point of view. Where I'm like, you know, the funny thing was I looked at your slides and I was like, it's too goddamn salesy. This is not how I want a webinar to go. And then I literally said to myself, then what's the point in having a webinar if you're not going to sell on it, you moron? Shut up.
So this is where people probably find me. They don't find me salesy, but they find me very much like, I get called money hungry all the time. I don't give a fuck about money. I give a fuck about my clients' money and getting them money, right? That's what I care about. So whatever I create, I've got in the mindset that this is becoming a teaching tool 2 months, a month, 2 weeks behind. Like the things that I just released in the module, I sat on that for 2.5 months. It cost me like $2,500 to do all of that stuff. And I sat on it and I haven't sold it at all. And I've actually given it to you guys to go off and use yourself. And strategically, I haven't put my name on it, haven't done anything, because you can use it as a learning module and you can take things out of it because I want you to use it, right? I don't want you to feel like it's my material versus your material. So what I want to do is go, like, for instance, just like talking about habits, we go, 7 habits of highly effective people, right? That's a fucking banger of a title. Right. But again, it's also very open to being like, okay, well, he's going to talk about certain things. So can we get a little bit more of a hook? The land of steady habits, right? Like, okay, well, do we put something like that in there? Like, that's pretty intriguing, right? Atomic habits, 7 habits of highly effective people, bad habits, 7 habits, blah, blah, blah.
You could easily extract the top one and go 3 habits of highly effective dieters.
Yeah. But then you go, okay, what are, how do we interchange that when we don't give them the whole kind of meat, right? Like if I'm going to go to your house and meet your family and stuff like that, and you're telling me about dinner, I want you to just say dinner because I don't want to know, because I'm excited about seeing what you can create. Yeah. So how do you tell someone about your menu without telling them everything on the menu, which is the hardest thing about social media. And that's why a lot of the stuff is already taken care of for you. But webinar titles, although this one is not going to be the one that you're going to look back on this after you've done 20, 50 webinars and be like, I can't believe I made that as a title. Right? And the best thing about it is that actually you can go and pay something like this to do it for you. So long term, it's not a thing that we need to worry about. Short term, it's a very easy thing that we can fix. So, if we went 3 habits of, like, you could even go like, it just comes into the point of how much you want to tell people versus how much you want to keep people on the kind of fence. Because if you are the consumer, which one are you going to click on more? 7 habits of highly effective weight loss, or the weight loss secrets no one's telling you about?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because I've got to switch myself off as a trainer now and think as a consumer, and that's the hardest part because I spent so long being on the opposite end. I suppose it's the clickbait one, isn't it? It's the secrets that nobody's telling you about. You're clearly going to pick, but for me as a PT, my instant reaction is, well, probably going to tell me that crap anyway. I've got to switch that off and start thinking about what my audience is looking for. They're looking for that grit, that, as you say, that hook, that desperate, like, I've just found everything. Why? What secret wasn't told to me?
Yeah.
As opposed to, being a bit more logical about it. You're not dealing with logical people.
Yeah. If we went like, let's say, let's go, all right, hold up. Let's go through. All right, so, all right. So the thing is also, like, I just queried that and I said, okay, secrets, or I went to I was in weight loss secrets, right? And it wasn't actually searched. So you can see how, like, like classroom secrets is searched 10,000 times. Although these are things like secrets of, if we went like here, you don't want to go out and create content if the content isn't being searched for anyway. So it's a very good search tool that we can go, okay, well, you're doing your planning for a month, right? What you'll do is you'll go in and say, okay, well, what are my things that I want to create? And you've also got to be open to the fact that this is only United Kingdom. People in the United Kingdom may not be searching for this. If we went global, I guarantee you would be searched more. But again, because we're not advertising straight away, it's also got to make sure that we're correlating with the people that are in our area. But like if we went, it's kind of cool. So if we went weight. Cool. So it's been searched minimum times. Obviously, it's not going to show me everything, but you can go. Okay, well, like I would say, like, if you went three weight loss secrets no one's telling you about. It's pretty easy in the title. It doesn't have. It's got everything to do with what you're talking about, but it gets people in the door.
Yeah.
Because it's telling you what the topic's about, so people aren't going to query that. It's telling you how many things there are, but you can also add bonuses in there. But you can also say, okay, well, what are the things that no one's telling me about? Like, like this person told me this person told me this, and all this other stuff. What are they telling me about? Like, what's going on there? So it's those queries and those understandings that you can go and then say, okay, well, then we can build that title. That's just the title. It doesn't have anything to do with your webinar. It's just about people getting in the door from there and saying, okay, well, we just need you. Like, for instance, you may have the best product in the world, but if you can't get those people in the door, it doesn't matter. Like, look at the McDonald's model.
Yeah.
McDonald's was bought out by the guy that owned McDonald's because the other two brothers, the McDonald brothers, could not sell their product fast enough and big enough on a scale.
Yeah.
So they would always become broke. It's like the person that can spend the most will make the most in advertising.
Yeah.
But the people that can spend the most and get the most out of it means that they're going to dominate their partners. For instance, I don't have an ads budget because I always get my ad budget covered by my first ad. Right? You see any of my ads, if you go onto it, it always covers that. So all I'm doing is getting people to pay me for my advertising so that I don't have a budget, so I can play against the big boys.
Yeah.
So the same thing with you. It's like there's so many webinars and so many informational products out there that you've always got to play against those people and realize that, okay, well, how do I eliminate all the people that my competition is? Go and find the 3 biggest people in your competition. And I know obviously we say that we don't have competition, but in terms of media, we do. Then say, okay, well, how do we outrank these people? There's so many ways that we can do it, just like a keyword search. I guarantee none of the big influencers are doing it. They're just copying each other, which is effectively a way of doing it. But if you go in and say, okay, well, if my content can get 4 or 5 more clicks, that's 4 or 5 more people that are seeing my product or tasting my product.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing that we want to do in this call is really nail down the title, the structure, how you felt about the webinar structure, because again, you have to be on board with it. Otherwise, it's just not going to resonate. And then also, when are we going to launch it?
Yeah. So I guess title-wise, the 3
She's like, look at,
Or,
look at this. Oh, fucking hell.
or
Yeah,
even like the three most common weight loss problems solved.
Yep. Or you could
Then,
go solving your weight loss problems, the 3 easy steps.
Yeah, that'll do. But as you say, it doesn't tell anybody what I'm talking about, but it's the subject. There's 3 parts to it, and I've had 3 problems with weight loss. I want them solved, and it hooks in. I suppose the structure of the webinar, I have no issue doing slides as visual aids, but I'd like to keep it. I suppose I'd be most comfortable doing it very much like my video style, you know, with an informative whiteboard or whatever. Like that's where I'm comfortable with free flow talking. I always have a structure, but as long as I have a skeleton to work with, I can pad it out like on the dot, something on top of my head, or as long as I've got something visual, that visual is the main focus of everything. Like the one I did the other day on that I sort of released up today about the wheel. I just had this concept that, as you were saying about principles, the same as you're saying about any aspect. The wheel is just a circle with a hole in the middle. That's the principle of it. No matter what you take away from it and how shiny and how many alloys you put on it and what different tires, it's still a circle with a hole in it. And that was just built off the conversation I had when one of my clients took me to breakfast. So I was like, well, there you go, there's a video. So,
but that's the thing that I'm open about is that I'm not like a Hitler, right? I'm not going to say you have to follow this process, otherwise it won't work.
Yeah.
I want you to become creative, because for me to sit here and say you weren't creative is bullshit, right? You came in with plenty of content and plenty of ideas and all this kind of stuff. You just wanted the yellow brick road to the end goal. Yeah. And effectively, you've got the clients, right? You've got the clients there. Now it's just how do we add more and more and more and more? And how do we just push you? Because officially you're an online coach. So that becomes not a what if now, right? You've done that, tick that box already, right? Done. So my goal for you is to say, okay, well, what resonates with you the most that can make you the most money by getting eyes on your product, not physical money, right? Don't get me wrong with that. But if I can put you in front of 50 people where before you were only sitting in front of 10 or 15, you've got, because we convert 20% of anyone we talk to. I need you to be in the room so that you can get a high enough percentage that it's worth your time. Because your time is more valuable than mine, because you have little people and also a family where I just have a dog, right? So it's kind of like, I can bring my dog to work. You can't necessarily always do that with your family and friends. Yeah. So my job for you is to say, okay, well, I don't get out of bed unless this happens. Because you worked so hard to get to this position now. You've done the time, you've done the energy, you've done the emotion. Now it's about to capitalize on that. So when you think about the structure, don't overcomplicate it. Whatever feels natural for you, do it. But as long as there's a process and you're not just giving out everything for free, because I know you have the tendency to do that. You do so many content pieces and you give it out all for free. And it's kind of like people will then get in the association that anything you say is going to be free, which devalues effectively your overall situation. Right. So what I want you to do is you can either do two different things, 2 structures. You can try and pay or charge for the webinar, which I wouldn't suggest doing now, but we can in the future. Do a couple of free ones, get people in the door and then charge for it. Then you don't have to sell at all. Right. You don't have to sell at all because you've already made the money. But technically later on, when we go into advertising, that money that they're paying is effectively just going to pay for the ads budget that you spent. So a lot of confusing elements, but the idea is that, for instance, Russell Brunson made $1.2 million in 60 minutes. Yeah. Just doing the webinar that I showed you, because the webinar structure is exactly what I've learned from people that are fucking massive compared to me. Right? I'm talking about $100,000 a day kind of shit. And those are the structures in order to get people to literally go through the process themselves. This isn't a car salesman. This isn't a cheesy way of getting people through. And it may sound salesy, but you can change the language. You just look at the structure and realize that people are going to be enticed the whole way through. The hardest thing is to keep people's attention.
Yeah, and strangely enough, that I knew that's something that you would have said. So when I was looking at the slide, it's like, this and this, and it's like, all I have to do is alter a word here, a word that at the moment I'm basically copying your slides slide for slide, but just altering things a little bit to make it a little bit more me. Because after you saying that, it makes sense that you've had to make it as almost as exaggerated as possible. Like I know that if you were to do a webinar, it wouldn't be laid out like that. But for the person learning, it's like if you make it as like if it's as brutal as this, you're kind of not going to lose. You can refine it down the line. But obviously, where I have a little bit more experience in wording and stuff like that, I'm like, right, I see what he's doing there now. Take the emotion out of it for a second. It's not trying to teach me to be salesy. What it's saying is like, these are the components you should have by this point in the slide. Yep. The next one. Now we're going to give a little bit more. So you've said the 3 things you're going to do. Then but we're not going to talk about it yet. They just know that it's coming. They know that it's coming. They know that it's coming. They know that it's coming. And then finally at the end, it's like, right, if you want the actual stuff.
Yeah.
This is where we go from here.
Exactly. And the thing is, the most important thing you've got to realize is that when I'm always thinking about above where, or before, ahead of where you are right now. So you're going to get to a point where you're going to have the software that allows you to do this automatically. So you film a webinar when you've got some free time, and then you sit down and record it and done, because you're not doing it in front of people, and we auto webinar it. So we put it out as an ad and people watch it and register for it and watch it when they can, rather than trying to fit to your time schedule, because that's another problem. Right, you may do a 7 p.m. UK time, but it's 8 a.m. for me, and I'll be probably at work, right? Not me being me, but me hypothetically. Yeah. With that problem, it can go every 15 minutes, but the structure in which I do that is actually formulated for auto webinars. So the reason why I'm like that is because I know people will be watching left, right, and center every time of the day. It doesn't matter where they are, and they'll be going through it because they would have seen all my content before. So the best situation is realizing that, okay, well, yes, I have to do this manually now, but again, in the future, I want to be doing it at the top level. You want to be on stage doing the shit, not doing it in front of a computer screen. So when you're doing that, an easy way to do it is allow people to see what it's like to be in a webinar, and then they can fit into their schedule. So that's why it's also strategized the way it is. But effectively, it's also massively got to resonate with you, regardless of the outcome of what I believe or not. Because if it's not resonating with you, they can tell over camera. 100%.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds. I need to take this thing on my dog. Oh, Luna. Stop it. Yeah. Look. Jesus Christ. So
can I just say, it's so funny, and I completely relate to hearing people go off screen and go, fuck's sake, Jesus Christ, what's happened now? That's exactly how I if anybody were to follow me as a fly to wall, that's what I do 90% of my day. I walk into a room, what the fuck is happening now? Jesus Christ.
But it's like she does it in the morning because she knows she should be sleeping, and she's annoyed and she's in a mood. So she'll go and eat something. But it's like everything's off the floor and she's got all her toys in her bed, but she just finds something to eat because she's a Labrador. And I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. Okay. So the title's nailed. That's cool. The structure is semi-nailed there as well. When do we want to launch?
I would say, to give me time to get it done, we're probably looking around the end of the challenge, because I think for me the focus at the moment is if I can make this up in the background, I need to nail the end of this challenge first and get people signed up that want to sign up.
For sure.
I'm actually, which is a quite cool point, I'm off to Newcastle next week for 4 days, so I might have to miss out on one of the podcasts, but that's fine. I'm happy for you guys to carry on, whatever. But I'm meeting up with a female powerlifting coach I met out in Orlando that has like over 22 competitive clients online and stuff. So she's going to teach me everything she knows about that. Awesome. And there's some mental health people that have been working with personal trainers and they've got their own register. I'm going to be networking with them and trying to get involved with that. So it's quite a cool weekend coming up. So I need that out of the way, get this challenge done. Everybody's nailed in and happy and like absolutely loving life, wants to come and work for me. And then it'll be a case of like, as soon as that's done, bam, webinars coming in to push on to the next phase.
Yeah. So when I bring up ideas, and this is where I want to make sure it's voiced before you feel like I'm overwhelming you all the time, is when I give you an idea, it's literally in line with you finishing the first one we worked on. So that you feel you don't have that panic moment when I've had it numerous times before, is when you're about to finish something and you have nothing else to go on to. And online, that's kind of like a killer, right? You'll notice that strategically, I'll always release something as soon as something else has had the cycle of it needs to be. Like my Ultimate Funnel was the first one. My cheat sheet was the second. My book was the third. My video series was the fourth. I've got 5. I've literally got the whole entire year planned out in terms of content, but I only release it once the cycle of the first one's finished, because there's no point releasing something else if it's going really, really well. But there's also, it's dead. It's really a detrimental thing to yourself if you have nothing to follow on with, because all of a sudden you're in like deep water and you're kind of just making sure your head's above water. So when you do the webinar, it just has to follow on with the first one you did, because remember, you will also at the same time be advertising for the second challenge, because you've realistically got, I would say, about 3 cycles of a free challenge before you need to go into paid to get more people coming in. Otherwise you're recycling the same loo water over and over and over and over again, and all of a sudden it starts to look really bad, right? Because people have seen it so often. So you've got about 3 challenges before we need to do that. Some people kind of get 4, some people go 5. I've never seen someone do more than 5 before they go into paid, just because you can't have that many eyes on the same thing over and over and over and expect people to do the same results. Because remember, out of 3 challenges, you should naturally have 4 people per challenge getting into your program anyway, which you have. So you'll see the reality of that as well. So the webinar, and then the other thing that we want to do as well is like some giveaways and stuff like that. Those are just the bridge gaps to get people looking at your content and then realizing you also do challenges. So the webinar is like the first trapdoor. No, so first door they walk through. Second door is maybe like a free resource that you have. The third is the challenge. So you don't release the challenge, and naturally you shouldn't need to very often before they've not gone through the other 2, because it allows them to go through all that stuff, gets you as a mentor, as an understanding of who you are, see some value, and then go into a challenge which is paid. Because naturally the first ones are 2 are free. So the same way that my advertising system works. So that's fine. That's completely good as well. Okay, cool. What has been some challenges for you over the last week for you as like a business owner, coach, all that kind of stuff?
There's been a couple of reshuffles of people's time, which then instantly, like, because I've got calls coming at certain times and I haven't obviously refined down that. I mean, everybody has their call slot, and that's fine. And I've done it at points where it's not going to interfere with anything.
Yep.
Then if I have to shuffle a client around all of a sudden, it's like, oh, I'm really sorry. And everyone's been cool about it. Like, don't get me wrong, I have no pushback on it because people understand. But I think it's not a problem now, but the things in the back of my mind, I'm still not 100% clued up / confident / maybe even competent might be the word in figuring out these automated services. So the next thing I also have to do is, because obviously we keep talking about landing pages, the guy that was helping me out still hasn't got round to it. I'm not going to push him because he was doing me a solid anyway. And he was just, he's a guy that said, I'll build one for you. I really want to help you out. But he's so busy. He's a single dad of 3 kids. I'm not going to push him. My brother has said, I will build you one. Like, just tell me what you want and we'll build it. So I think I'm going to go down that route. I'm not averting to having someone, to paying someone to do it for me. Because at the moment, it's just that thing sat in the back of my head. Like, I have no hub to run the automations from.
Yeah.
And that's what's sort of, I think it hasn't affected me work-wise, because actually in-house work-wise and online, I'm feeling great at the moment. All of my clients are doing really well. Everybody's getting good results. The challenge is going really well. My online client is loving life because she's getting more than she's ever got from another trainer before, and she's feeling stoked. That's great. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, at the moment, this is great, but if I'm going to go bigger, I have nothing at the moment to automate half of that out. I have no hub to work from, which is what I need to kind of get nailed down. Even a landing page is somewhere people can go find resources, go, here's the landing page, click this link. Here's the, even if there's no website yet, you know what I mean?
And the thing is, I know this is going to be a conversation that we're going to have together sooner rather than later, most likely, because you're scaling at massive amounts, whether you think so or not. So the thing that I always do, and it's a conversation that we have together, and it's completely transparent as well, is that obviously my company is a consulting and marketing company, right? So I also, by business coaching, I also do landing pages, marketing. I have teams, I have people in my business to do this for me, and also my clients. So literally as a an add-on to what you already have. You can add on certain things like landing page softwares, booking system softwares, all these things that we can handle for you. You just add it onto your DD every month, every week. So it becomes a very like hands-free model. Everything you have is yours, legally, trademark, everything is yours. So whatever we create is yours. We just host it on ours, because we have so many, like I'm in an inner circle with ClickFunnels, which means I get access to things that you can't even get unless you're willing to pay $1,000 a month, right? So you have that avenue there. So do not feel, and I'm not going to try and say, I'm not selling you at all on this call, but what I'm trying to say to you is that do not feel like you have to go out and get all these fancy softwares, because you will not use half of the stuff that you would be paying for if you did that. So please, if you want to go down the brother route, do it 100%. But things like, I'll show you the one that I built yesterday for one of my clients. Literally, like, here's a landing page here, right? Like, this is her. She's a nutritionist. She's want to become a foodie. All of this stuff done. She just messaged my team. She emailed the account that she gets. There's a direct email account that you can email for all of this. So, like, let's say you come up with an idea while you're away on the weekend. You email, and we create. It's like a time frame based on how many pages you want. There are things that we need to talk about in the future anyway, but things like this. This is a perfect landing page, right? She says, let's change my life. And this is the first page done, right? So then it's a 3-page, it's effectively a 3-page landing page, but it's like, that's, when I created my consulting company, it wasn't just so I could coach people. It's also so my team can take away all the shit you don't need to worry about, like landing pages, like autoresponders, like email sequences, like booking systems, all of that shit that you don't need to worry about, but we get bridged into it because we need to online, right? It's also added costs that we can get a lot cheaper, just like we're a wholesale store. You walk into to whatever a wholesale store is, we can get you bigger discounts than you could get anyway. So there is an avenue that you can have a think about. It's a lot easier than trying to go off and trying to get all these different things and remember passwords and remember payments coming out and all this stuff. It's just one payment every week. But again, it's a conversation that takes as much as you possibly need. But that avenue is completely
that's one of those things, like, beforehand I kind of had in my head that it was something that I should be doing myself, and the more and again the Phil Graham thing put me right off, and I think, like, with everything happened, but as I said, and it wasn't blowing, and that's why I said it on the podcast, it wasn't about blowing smoke up your ass. It's like, the way you've done things with me has made me feel very confident about me doing it in this way, because, like, the way you're doing it is how I wanted to do it. It wasn't a automate. Oh, look, everything's recorded. Let's go talk to the group. I'm not talking to a group. I want to talk to you. I paid you £1,000. I didn't pay the group £1,000. I don't care what their opinion is. I want your opinion.
Yeah.
But that's why, I mean, I've loved every phone call, and I genuinely think that's why people have been so responsive on the back of them, because they can tell that I'm generally interested in each and every one of them. I had this conversation with the last coach, because I feel like I'm pestering you. So pest me. I want you to pest me, because if you have a question, I can answer it. Then you don't need to pest me again. I actually want you to get to a point where you feel so confident that we can part ways.
For sure. And that's the ultimate situation that I want to put yourself into, and all my clients into, is that you do not feel like you're ever having to come to a call. Like, you're, I have to go on another call, I have to do this. I want you to genuinely work as hard as you possibly can between calls, but get so excited that you realize that you can talk to me both outside, but also there's no wall that's going to be popped up in front of you. A lot of the time you get into coaching programs and they'll say, okay, you do these next 12 weeks or 30 weeks with me, and then all of a sudden all these things start popping up. Like, you have to get this software, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. It's really frustrating for me, because, again, the journey should be just as fun for you as it is for your clients coming into your program, because you're building your business at the same time you're transforming their lives. So it has to go hand in hand. So, again, there's so many different avenues that you can go down, but I would just be cautious about what best, because when we get to this point, a lot of things, people go either way. They get down the road of, I want to build everything for myself, get overwhelmed and forget about the things that got them there in the first place, like getting on the webinars, getting on the calls, doing the programs. They get flustered, frustrated, and annoyed, or they go down the other route and see the time versus how much it costs to do it as a value of, let's say, half a client every time you build a page or build a software or whatever you want to do, right?
That's kind of what I was thinking. I've already had it in my head that basically, if I get a 50% conversion rate from this challenge, which I don't see that being an issue, even if I only get 2 with the online client I have, who I know is not going anywhere because she's already received like awesome service from me. It covers the cost of you, which frees me up £400 a month, plus an extra £200 a month. Now, that money, as we've said, and I'm very much aware of, if those 3 clients, I mean, and this is bare minimum, those 3 clients can cover the cost of you and automation, well, great, because then as soon as I get the automation in, I'm going to get more clients, which then gives me more money in my pocket. And I have no misconception that I am some person that I'm a fucking retard when it comes to building this shit. I can't do it. I have no passion for it. It annoys me. I get frustrated and I'm bugged off. Hence, like all the trouble I had with the challenge, because I don't understand things. Like, even though I know, if I look back on it now, I'm like, you didn't have to change anything because it was great. You have the ability, but because it just doesn't sit with me. I'd rather be, as you say, working on webinars, working on content, and then going, this is what I've made, guys, stick it on the site. And you go, yeah, great, nice one, Vince. And I'm like, absolutely amazing. I'm going to go get on my sub board because I don't have to do anything else the rest of the day.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, cost effectively, like one of the upgrades you can do is £25 a week, right? You couldn't even get the software for that cheap. Like, we do it so cheap that it's like, because we host you effectively on our site. So we just need your domain. We just need your information from whatever server you use, as long as it correlates with what we can do. And then you get, for that as well, you get as many 2-page funnels as you possibly want, right? As soon as you want to have payments and all this stuff into it, there's a little bit added builds, but literally you get 2-page things. You get as many as you possibly want. So you can come to our idea on the Sunday and say, hey, can you just build this funnel? And then 48 hours later, 24 hours later, it's built. You didn't have to do a single thing. You just have a Dropbox, Google Drive, whatever you use. We go into it, get all the information you want, you name it, do all the scripts, all that kind of stuff. We do it for you because I've done this for 5 years. My team has done it for even longer. I have designers and stuff in my team that are way more experienced than I am at building funnels. So, that is, you cannot get, and you can go look at the software. I can link it for you and it's still more expensive and you don't use half of the stuff anyway.
No.
So,
but this is the thing. It's like it's like my phone.
Yeah,
my phone has huge, like as much as it's Android, and we all dig about it.
Yeah.
The Note 10 Plus that I have, I bought it because it has the ability to basically set me up like an overhead projector in business. It has cracking camera quality. Its ability to annotate notes with the pen. The pen is like a Bluetooth one where I can be across the room, click my phone, and it records videos for me. It clicks the next slide. It has all these air commands and stuff. But I only use about 10% of that. Even though I'm paying for it, I still use the same few apps, the same clicky twisty thing. Yeah. And it's like, as you say, if I'm paying for something, I'm only going to use 5% of it, whereas you guys are going to use all of the aspects because you understand it. So I'd rather pay somebody else to get the most out of it than pay for it myself and think I'm using the most basic part of this. Yeah. Like even if we did lowball it and it's like £25 a week, I'm going to use £5 of that £20. That's £20 I'm throwing down the toilet because I don't know how to use it. Whereas you're going to use all of that £25 to build something epic, and I'm going to go do it.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's the thing. So I'm just going to sit here and say, whenever you're ready for that, when you have that extra income, have a think about it. We can even trial it. You don't like it for a month, you get your money back. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care about the money. I care about the process, which gets you more clients, right? If this funnel can get you more clients straight away, if that auto webinar funnel can save you more time, you film a webinar on a Sunday, you release it on a Wednesday, you have more time with your family, 100% my goal from that. So whenever you've got that sign, you know the price, right? Whenever you're ready to do it, just have a conversation with me and we can go. But that's the idea. And because you brought it up, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to save you from making decisions that are going to lock you in for, certain things. Because I know like PT Hub and all that kind of stuff, they have contracts, which is weird. But it would be, I just want to save you from having that conversation with people and getting annoyed, because I'd rather not you go into that reality because you don't need to. It's a possibility you just don't need to have. So that conversation can happen whenever you're ready to do. But apart from that, I think honestly, like with the webinar, as soon as that starts launching, the process is the exact same as what we did for the challenge. So the 3 weeks, 2 weeks, however long you want to do it, I would recommend minimum 2 weeks of marketing, maximum 3 weeks. I would just do the same thing, post in the group, redo, talk about it every single day, get everything into it. All your challenge members have to go to it, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, those people that didn't convert may go into that webinar and then convert as a client naturally, because you just are like, well, okay, well, I've done the challenge with them. I've done the webinar and all that kind of stuff. And then make sure in the challenge that we're always trying to get testimonials as much as we possibly can. You know, like clip it, messages, all that stuff. Because we can, although we're not going to use it now, we can definitely use it later.
Yeah, it's all content, isn't it? Like, you can recycle that after a while. And as I say, it was I think Paul Mort said it on James Smith's recent podcast when he goes, if somebody turns around and says, mate, you used that 2 months ago, his instant reply was, thanks for paying attention. Clearly showed you looking the last time. So
100%,
cool. Mm-hmm. So, and that's the thing, like as I said, I was just going to regurgitate like the 100 videos I've made. I had no problem redoing them because some of them were done a year ago. People aren't going to remember that.
But the thing that I want to know is that what we could do is, why don't we turn all of your videos, put them on a cloud server like Vimeo or something, and then do a membership site that we do. And then all of a sudden you've got a really, really low end product that you can just offer people as an upsell. So for instance, you can name it something really massive, like something video library, right? You can charge it like a Netflix subscription, but then all of a sudden you go through all of your clients right now and say, hey, do you want to have my Netflix subscription? $7, $7 a week, £7 a week. Then all of a sudden you've just got £7 a week continuously for nothing. And you can always add to it. So my goal for you, and bringing it to the last point before we finish up, is I want you to start monetizing all the fucking hard work you've done. And me, I know I talk about money and all this stuff, but you're sitting on a gold mine of information that you've done. You've got 100 videos. We need to get that into a membership site as soon as possible, and then we can sell that.
Yeah, sure.
You could easily sell that.
That's actually always been a goal of having something like that. Low-end subscription service. You know, like the first one when I first got the idea is a guy called the Hypertrophy Coach. I don't know if you've heard of him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I signed up to his thing, and it costs £6 a month. And all he does is put videos of his workouts up and talk once every 2 days.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, from a trainer's point of view, I kind of was like, okay, I see what's going on here, and I quit any time. But you know, he's just turned that alone is his source of revenue. I mean, I suppose the same thing with the James Smith Academy, isn't it? It's no different. It's like it's low end. You pay £8.
Yeah.
And you have everything you need. But if you want more, like we said, like I can give you 100 videos, and new videos go up once a week. Great. But that doesn't mean anything to you unless you're going to pay me the extra to decipher that for you. But it's that low end tick over that covers all of my overheads, like advertising, this, you know, because this, and I already made this decision beforehand, like once the 30 days are up, this is going to continue. I'm not going to drop it because it's too valuable to me. And if that's ticking over in the background, covering it all, it doesn't matter how cheap it is and nice possible way. Like obviously after a while there'll be other things, but that was my aim. That's why I made so many videos. One, it was to get me out there, but two, is to have this library of stuff that people could just go and look at and get information they needed as they did it. Because then as soon
as I saw the resources, as soon as I saw how much you had, I was like, my eyes are like money for you, right? Because I was like, my membership portal that you get for free because of my coaching program, that's like $97 a week for people that aren't even in my coaching program. Yeah. Right. And that is my life's work from what I've done. Right. And that took me a long time to build, but all I do is add more and more and more and more. So then from your point of view, there's no way in hell that you would not be able to get $7 a week or $7 a month, whatever you want to charge. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
$50 a week, right? $50 a month. Sorry. Like all of a sudden you've got this pool of income. Imagine if that made you £40,000 a year. What would that do for you? And the reason maybe why you haven't done it is because we don't have a hub in which to put it into.
Exactly that. Like building the content is like my area. I just don't have anybody or anything to put it into, which is why my YouTube started growing. Why I thought this time I've got to have something that people can go and see it on, because it's a ball ache traveling back through Facebook to try and find these videos. Yeah. I mean, at the moment, I'm kind of in that, you know, the PT's paradox where I've got great revenue and income and PT coming through at the moment. I just don't have any time to keep updating these videos. So it will come to a point when things die down. So I know once the challenge is settled, I'm going to be a bit more constructive with my call times to free myself up so they're not so ad hoc. And I'm actually going to have to say, look, I'm putting time away to make content, because the other thing is as well, once I've got both of my clients through Body Power, I'm putting my prices up.
100%. You're putting your prices up
Because
as soon as the challenge is over for your online.
yeah,
There's no question about that. The entry fee is going to go up, and also your price is going to go up because you're not the same trainer as when you started the challenge, and you're a hell of a lot more experienced by the end of the challenge, and you've already got clients.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not? Right. And then all of a sudden you've got if someone says no to your challenge, they're not going to say no to your Netflix library.
No, exactly.
£7 a month covered, done, or £10 a month, £15, whatever you want to make it, done. Then you've all got the membership kind of system that we're gonna build, or I'm gonna keep prodding away for you to build, right? Done. There's a revenue source that's going to cover your probably ad spend, future ad spend. All of a sudden, then you've got to say, okay, well, how do I cover the build cost or the hosting cost of what I want to do when you build landing pages? That's the next thing we cover. And then all of a sudden, once you cover it, you're making the profit. But then also you're doing all the work, and it's all your work. And it's already all the stuff you've already got. So there's not like about, oh, I need to go and create all this content to sell. We just load all those 100 videos, or we can even just use your YouTube channel, but put it in somewhere that's off Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. Because my fear is that if those three platforms crash, you've got nothing. Where ClickFunnels, Vimeo, they've been around, they'll be around for 50 years because they're not social media.
Yeah, sure.
So they're going to be, and my biggest goal for you is to not lose all that work and if the system crashes. And lose all of that system because people can't go and watch somewhere. And again, what looks better, Netflix or YouTube as a viewing platform, right? Like you've got to also look from it. People go to Netflix, they don't always go to YouTube. But again, YouTube have YouTube Premium, so there's no reason why we can't start charging for this stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. She's now got my shoe, and she's now ripped up the whole entire of my carpet. So. Of my rug. Fuck. What annoys me is I saw this lady on the Labrador page that I'm on. Yeah, fucking guilty. I'm on the Labrador page. And she was complaining about her Labrador eating and chewing shoes. And I'm like, well, it's my fault that she's in a room and not doing anything because I'm on a call. So I'm not going to get angry at her because she's chewing things. Like, it's just a joke.
Yeah.
I don't
and
understand.
Also, then I suppose, wait, you own a Labrador. What did you expect was going to happen?
I was about to comment there. She was like, I don't know if I can afford it. I'm like, who buys a dog if they can't afford it? Like any breed. It's a joke. It's like saying, I can't afford to have a kid, but I had a kid. Like,
well, how many people do that?
Exactly. That's cool. Okay, cool, man. All right, sweet. So we've got the webinar name, we've got the structure, we've got the anything else that you want to cover? Any other questions, queries?
No, I think we covered everything. It's just
Beautiful.
Again, it was just hashing out the timeline, the name. Obviously, I'll rewatch this to get the name and the content. Because it's just going out of my head now. But it was more so just kind of setting up the timeline to just say that I've got some things coming up. I wanted to, and I know you already knew this, obviously, so you're not pressuring me like, right, I want you to work on this webinar now. It's like, right, I just want to get the challenge done, nail that down. I'm really going to brought up the subject to the landing page and everything else. And, if it's just a case of, if I get these 3 clients, then they pay for it. It's done. And then as soon as that's paid, it's putting more people to it. And it's, as we said before, it's like having an ad that covers the cost of an ad. It's like these clients are covering the cost of the process that gets me more clients. So it's only it makes sense to put it back into that first rather than, I don't know, spend it on some dumb shit. It's like, well, if this is now making me break even, I'm actually back up money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now £400 up a month, as opposed to being at the moment only down 200 because I haven't recycled the money yet.
Yeah.
But at the moment I'm in that point. So even if I got 3 of them, so that's 4 online clients, that's this covered, the additional add-on bolt-ons covered, and I'm still another £150 up, which basically covers everything else. So.
And that's the thing. I don't want you to feel like this is me trying to upsell you or putting in my funnel or whatever. I've just got this platform and I designed it.
That's why I asked, because I knew you would. And the reason that was is because it's like literally week number 3 of the Phil Graham drip feed program is now, you're going to need a landing page. I don't explain what the hell a landing page is.
Yeah.
So, numpty like me, because you're going to need a landing page, you can do it yourself, or, my team can do it for you. It's 250 quid. Here you go. Like instantly, it was like, right, you can buy it from me. Whereas I know that's going to be an option. You know, you clearly not, in the nice possible way, you're a busy guy, you have a business, you're not going to be making every single landing page yourself. You're clearly going to have people that will do that for you. So it made sense to inquire who does yours. Can I get in on it? Is it something that we can just add on to X, Y, Z? Because I was going to pay for it anyway. Because I've just really come to the realization, like, why stress myself out about it?
Directly, when it's my business clients like you guys, I do all the work with you personally, because I'm not going to offload you to another person. It's just not how I operate. If it's anyone outside of my business coaching realm, that's when I get my other guys to come in and do it.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's just not, I don't want to have some person, I don't want you to have you, me, and then someone else. I would just have it me and you, which again, also, like, you have to have a conversation whether you want to go down that route and have those conversations, that's fine. But the transparency needs to be there and says that, you know, whatever you want, it's my wish is your command. It's just about when you have the £25, we can have that conversation. It's not about, I'm going to make you do it when you're not ready to do it. I want you to have that side of things done, but it's easier just to talk to me about everything rather than talking to 5 people about 5 different things.
Yeah, sure.
And then we have delay problems and all that kind of stuff as well. So yeah, have that thought, have a conversation. When you've got the income there, just let me know and we can sort it out and get ready to go. Again, you can have the 14-day trial as well, which is incorporated in any software anyway. So you can literally, when you start doing it, you get 14 days free, and then the first add-on payment comes out. So that's another option as well. As if you say at the 14 days you don't like it, no worries, no big deal. Because again, every software does that. I'm not going to not just give you that because you're doing it with me. You get all that added bonus anyway. But otherwise, like I said, I think we just go hard with the challenge, get those clients, and then the webinars building in the background. Cool?
Yeah, nice one.